afternoon, Facebook. Anthony Darby, CEO of Peninsula Wellness. I am here as always on Wednesdays with our Lunch and Learn. It won't always be me, but we will always have a Lunch and Learn session. I think it will be me for the next few weeks at least, as we dive into some topics. As always, please make sure you like, comment, and share. If you're enjoying this, share it on Facebook. Let people know that there's an activity that they can tune into on Wednesday afternoons from wherever they're at, even if they're working in the cubicle, and learn about medical cannabis and wellness. And it's something that we're really excited about and really passionate about. So today the topic is sleep support through cannabinoids. I'm going to be discussing the endocannabinoid system and its role in sleep. I'll talk a little bit about certain cannabinoids like THC, CBD, CBN, a little bit of the role of terpenes, and then we'll wrap up. So, as always, I think it's really important and makes a lot of sense to always start at the root of the fact that every individual human has an endocannabinoid system. All mammals have endocannabinoid systems. And this is a bodily system, just like your nervous system, just like your skeletal system, your muscular system, all these different systems that our bodies have. Out of all of them, the endocannabinoid system may be the most vague to medical scientists and to experts, as it's only been researched and studied a small period of time compared to its counterparts. And what we understand about the endocannabinoid system, as we're vastly learning more and more every day, but we understand that the main role, as we see of the endocannabinoid system, is to maintain homeostasis within the body. It creates that level of balance where the body is optimal performance, and that's going to include when it's time to go into sleep, being able to lay down and have a restful night of sleep. So the endocannabinoid system operates at a much higher level of resonating through all your different systems and throughout the body. But today we're going to keep it focused on sleep. So, if you're listening and you're thinking, well, what exactly does the endocannabinoid system do with specifics to sleep? Well, the first thing that we can account to endocannabinoid system is regulating and modulating the sleep-wake schedule. So if you're on a stable and a sleep regimen, where you're trying to go to bed the same time roughly every night, try to wake up in the same time every morning. Science has showed that is a good quality of a strong sleep schedule, and the endocannabinoid system can play a direct role in maintaining that. Really, it's through a complex series of cell signaling, but it's involving the CB1 receptors and allowing your brain to correct the right signal so that it's telling your body at night, hey, it's time to go to sleep. It's telling your body in the morning, it's time to wake up. One thing that we definitely know the endocannabinoid system has a huge role in is whether or not patients will have dreams and will affect the quality and type of dreams that they have. This may not seem like a huge issue for many, but I'm quickly reminded of some of our patients that unfortunately have PTSD. And when they go down the end of the night, a lot of times the triggering of memories and the triggering these dreams can not only just interrupt their sleep, but can keep them up and cause mental angst on top of that. We found that by patients using THC at a consistent level, many of them notice that the dreams are actually suppressed. They have less dreams. And for those folks that have violent or unpleasant dreams, this is something that can be a huge benefit in improving their quality of sleep and their overall health. So, dreaming is one thing that we know is absolutely affected by endocannabinoid system. And then just the overall biological functions during sleep, how your body recuperates, whether you're in REM sleep, your ability to stay asleep once you fall asleep. The endocannabinoid system, through its complex triggering mechanisms, are going to have a little bit of role in everything from your brain chemistry, from your gut health, to everything that's going on as your body is recuperating when you're having that sleep state. So now that you have an understanding of why it's important and why it even makes sense to address the endocannabinoid system if you're having trouble sleeping, I think that's sometimes kind of this mystical thing is, well, how can cannabis be so effective for sleep? And how can CBD help for sleep and CBN? It's because your endocannabinoid system has such a robust role in your sleep that by introducing those cannabinoids to that system, you're going to get the desired effects. So we'll start with our favorite cannabinoid, good old THC. Most folks are familiar with that. And what we find in THC is a couple different things. First, a lot of folks will notice a sedative effect when they're using certain types of cannabis. And I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse with the terpenes, but when it comes to THC, the accompaniment of terpenes that surround that THC chemical composition within that product are really going to dictate how well THC works in the scenario. But if you've isolated THC um, in something like similar to maybe Dixie has an elixir product, which is a drink similar to like a NyQuil consistency, but it's geared towards sleep. Products like that, they're THC specific. They are not terpene dominant, and a lot of folks when they use those products will notice a sedative effect. They notice that it helps them feel tired, it helps them feel groggy, and allows them to start relaxing before they fall asleep, making falling asleep a lot easier. A lot of our patients report back to us that they really prefer using an inhalation method, basically smoking before bed. It's not uncommon for a lot of our patients to find relief smoking anywhere between an hour and a half to an hour before bed, sometimes sooner than that. And that to them kind of induces that sleep regimen, gets their body in the starts telling their body, hey, it's time to go to bed, it's time for sleep. Your body's just going to start feeling sedative from taking the THC and smoking. And for folks that have the hardest problem of quality sleep being falling asleep, we find that inhalation is a really great tool for a lot of folks. And once they're asleep, they're able to stay asleep, and it really solves their problem. For our friends that don't have a problem falling asleep but have a problem staying asleep, this is where that elixir or an edible could actually be more appropriate. The good thing about inhalation or smoking cannabis is when you smoke, you're going to feel it within 15 to 20 minutes. It's a very quick onset time, and you know that, hey, it's working. Um, the, the the metabolization of that product, though, will happen over the course of roughly an hour and a half to 2 hours, and the effects of that product will no longer be felt. For many folks, like I mentioned earlier, that don't have a problem staying asleep, that's not an issue because once they're asleep, they're good. But for the folks that do have a problem staying asleep, this is where an edible or something that's going to have a longer onset time but a longer stay period within your body can be really helpful. I know that, and for many folks, that could be simply eating an edible, a gummy, um, something that you're going to ingest, and then several hours later, an hour or so later will kick in, and that onset time will be closer to 4 to 6 hours, not the 1 to 2 hours that you previously are used to from an inhalation method. Now that we've gotten into such a sophisticated market, um, maybe one of the best tools that we have that's THC influenced or THC dominant would be Curio sleep tablets. And Curio put a lot of time and effort in creating this formulation and then spent even more time and resources in testing the formulation in head-to-head trials against some of the more known sleep aids that you would find through a prescription. Um, Part of the beauty in Curio's sleep tablet that I find to be so impressive is its staggered effect in terms of how it works. When the patient takes that tablet, they'll immediately get a response within 30 to 45 minutes of the first kind of quote unquote dose of THC. But then there's technology in there that allows it to have an extended release period, which holds off the effects of that next dose kind of being triggered to the body. Which, if you think about it, if you were able to take a tablet that helps you fall asleep and then gives you another dose in a staggered period to help you stay asleep, it really addresses both of those concerns for a lot of our patients, which is why we've seen such a huge success rate with this product. I'm excited as we get more and more complex products and more sophisticated products that take in all the accounts of the concerns of the patient and are able to address everything, not just one or the other. And when we first opened our dispensary and we were very limited on products, a lot of times we were really piecemealing together programs and packages and products for our patients. Where now in a more sophisticated market, the scientists have already done that, and now we're simply just telling our patient, take this one single tablet in the evening, and you're getting all the desired effects that maybe you needed 2 or 3 products for before. So sophistication of product offerings in our dispensary is really um, gain traction, especially around things like sleep, which so many of our patients struggle with. CBD. Um, CBD is the next cannabinoid that we speak about the most outside of THC. And what I find with CBD is, unlike THC, which for the most part, um, a definitely depending upon the chemical profile, if you're using inhalation and a terpene profile, but for the most part, everyone that uses THC is going to feel the same psychoactive effect, and they're going to get some level of sedation and some level of getting closer to a sleep state than not. But with CBD, it's not always like that. I personally use CBD in the morning. I don't typically notice any sedative effects at all. I never feel groggy. I never feel like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. It's going to slow me down in the morning. But I've gotten feedback, and I know that, for instance, Chuck Hen, our partner, only takes his CBD in the evening because it does give him that onset. It does give him that sedative effect. Um, and a lot of that also comes with the calmness and the ability for CBD to have a soothing effect on a lot of folks if they're having stress, if they're having anxiety. And a lot of times what we find is that there's that connection between stress and anxiety and then the interruption of their sleep schedules. So CBD, although some a portion of patients find it to be overly relaxing and sedative. I do not, and some patients don't experience that, but almost all patients will refer to CBD as having that relaxing feeling, that calming feeling, but without reducing the energy levels. And I think that piece alone, just bringing some folks at a peace of mind, calming them down, not letting their mind race, allows them to naturally start putting themselves in a better position to ready their mind to go to sleep and to stay asleep. So for CBD, I think it's a lot of the calming effects, the same type of interactions with the body that we expect to help with anxiety and to help with depression and mental health. I think there's a lot of the same properties that are allowing patients to get better night's sleep when incorporating CBD into their regimen, specifically Peninsula Holistic CBD. Um, and then the last cannabinoid that I wanted to mention during this lunch and learn was CBN. CBN is a minor cannabinoid that we've discussed before. If you're not familiar with CBN, that's not completely surprising. It is a newer cannabinoid to get notoriety, and we're finally getting more research and development around how CBN can benefit patients. A quick side note for those curious about how CBN can be derived, one way to get CBN is to degrade THC. So if you are interested in understanding how CBN may be able to help you with sleep, but you don't have access to CBN, you would simply be able to get flour, for instance. If you put that flour in sunlight and you put that flour in conditions that are going to make it deteriorate, turn brown, get what we would typically think of as old, that's actually going to build up the conversion of THC, converting it to CBN, and give you some decent CBN flour that you'd be able to utilize. Why is it helpful? Well, CBN is known to have a really calming and sedative effect, even more so than CBD, and in some ways more so than THC when used properly. And for some people, depending upon, once again, a lot of the statements and claims that I'm making are the norms, they are the trends, but because everyone has an individualized endocannabinoid system, everyone's experience is going to be slightly different. I know right now there's somebody listening to this saying, no matter what I smoke, it doesn't make me sleepy, and I can smoke the heaviest indica in the morning and go about my day, or I can smoke a sativa and fall asleep an hour later. That's a very personalized experience. For the norms, for the majority of folks, the things that I'm alluding to are what we can count on typically happening with patients. So CBN, I'm really excited that we're going to be coming out with a CBD CBN blend tincture. And the reason for that is because we've gotten the feedback from the dispensary side. We have CBN gummies that are infused, THC CBN gummies that are infused. We have more tinctures, sublingual tinctures coming out with CBN, and the response from our patients has been phenomenal. Our patients are really, really enjoying this cannabinoid for sleep, and we're really seeing a lot of the catalyst effect of once we have a patient who's on CBD and stabilized, we add in a little THC to their regimen, and then we can add in some CBN. We're in a microdose style format where we're gradually adding in and titrating up these different cannabinoids. The effects that we're and the feedback from our patients are absolutely phenomenal. So it's a lot of this is always going to be contingent around dosing. These cannabinoids that I mentioned, the dosing and ratio in terms of how you're going to consume those cannabinoids is really gonna impact how well your sleep is impacted and really change the trajectory of where your body goes. So some of the takeaways from today should be at the highest level. Your endocannabinoid system and balancing it has a whole lot to do with how well you're sleeping at night. And if you're not sleeping at night, and even if you are a cannabis patient of ours, take a step back and ask yourself, am I giving myself too much THC? Am I not giving myself CBD? What am I doing in my endocannabinoid system that may be affecting it in a way that I'm not sleeping as well as I want to? And then start with the regulating of your endocannabinoid system through a strong CBD regimen, utilizing THC as needed. And then if that still isn't working, then I would look to other products like CBN, melatonin. There's other natural supplements that could be integrated into a wellness program to help create those outcomes. And we can have those conversations on the wellness side as well. So if you are in Salisbury or you want to have a virtual consultation, reach out to us at Peninsula Wellness. We can discuss your THC options on the dispensary side, or if you're not a patient, we can discuss your other cannabinoid options on the wellness side. Remember, all of our products on Peninsula Wellness are completely open to the public, and we can ship to every state other than North Dakota. So we have a lot of offerings for patients that may be listening to this today virtually but are not within the Salisbury area. Please don't feel that we can't be of service to you. Reach out, give us the opportunity to help you get a better night's rest. So we're going to be focusing a lot on sleep, and over the next couple of weeks, it's a theme for us within our store. Due to COVID, due to life, due to just American lifestyle, we find that a lot of folks are struggling with sleep, and the recourse and the uh, con- the consequences of that are significant. When folks aren't sleeping, it's really tough to have a positive attitude. It's tough to maintain your appetite. It's tough to perform at the highest level if you're not sleeping at the end of the night. You ask any top performer, any athlete, and then give said top performer or athlete a baby and don't let that person sleep, and they'll immediately understand the need and the value of getting a good night's rest. So we're here to help as always. PeninsulaMD.com. I'm Anthony Darby, CEO of Peninsula Wellness. Thank you for joining us, and tune in again next Wednesday at noon.